Hi, today we'll be presenting the auditory system. My name is Glenna Gerardo, and I'll be presenting the outer ear. So the outer ear consists of the pinna, the external auditory meatus, and the lateral surface of the tympanic membrane, which is shown here on the right. So the pinna is what we usually consider to be the ear. It's what we see outside, and it serves an important purpose in the auditory process because it collects and localizes sound with all the creases and folds and cavities that the pinna contains. So during spoken communication, the pinna collects all the acoustic sound waves, and these sounds are guided by the pinna as it enters the external auditory meatus. The external auditory meatus, EAM for short, is a tube-like structure that extends until it reaches the tympanic membrane. It's also known as the ear canal, and its purpose is to conduct sound energy and protect the tympanic membrane with its cerumen production, which is earwax. The sound travels down the EAM and reaches the tympanic membrane to amplify the sound, and then this is where the auditory process enters the middle ear.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Michelle Johnson, and I will be discussing the middle ear. The middle ear lies within the temporal bone extending from the tympanic membrane all the way to the lateral wall of the inner ear. The main function of the middle ear is to transmit vibrations deriving from the tympanic membrane to the inner ear using the ossicles. The middle ear also connects to the back of the nose and throat by a narrow tube better known as the eustachian tube, which is used to help equalize the air pressure in your ears. Parts of the middle ear, ossicles. The first ossicle is known as a malleus, also known as the hammer, and it attaches to and moves the tympanic membrane and is divided into four parts: the head, neck, short process, and handle. The handle of the malleus attaches loosely to the tympanic membrane, and the head of the malleus attaches to the incus and forms the incudo-mallear joint. On average, the malleus has a height of 8 millimeters and 2.7 millimeters in width. The second ossicle is incus, also known as anvil, and is divided into the body's short and long processes. The incus connects with the stapes and forms the incudo-septal joint. On average, the incus is about 6.9 milliliters in height and 5.3 milliliters in width. The third and final ossicle is known as stapes or stirrup, and it consists of the head, legs, and foot plate. It is also known as the smallest bone within a human body, and it articulates with the oval window of the inner ear. On average, the stapes is 3.5 milliliters in height and 2.4 milliliters in width, and the acoustic vibrations are transmitted to the foot plate of the stapes, which is also responsible for moving the fluid within our inner ear. And now, the tensor tympani and stapedius muscles. The tensor tympani arises above the auditory tube and inserts into the malleus via a tendon. Thus, the contraction pulls the handle of the malleus and stiffens the ossicular chain in response to very harsh sound. Whereas the stapedius muscles arises in the posterior wall of the middle ear and attaches to the crest and the neck of the stapes via a tendon. The contraction will then pull the foot plate of the stapes away from the oval window and stiffen the ossicular chain. Both the tensor tympani and the stapedius muscles are used as protective reflexes, and they help reduce the amount of sound that gets into the inner ear.
Hi, my name is Elaine, and I'm going to be presenting the inner ear. The inner ear is located deep in the temporal bone and involves a group of interconnected chambers filled with fluid. The key functions of this sensory neural mechanism is transforming hydraulic energy into neuromechanical and electrical energy, as well as keeping the equilibrium of the body, the balance. The components of the inner ear are the cochlea, the vestibule, and the semicircular canals. The cochlea is involved in the heating mechanism and composed by the skull, the basilar membrane, that is the base of the cochlear duct, and the organ of Corti that is located in the basilar on the basilar membrane and contains the sensory receptor for hearing. Three membranous fluid-filled ducts, the scala vestibuli, the scala media, and the scala tympani, are separated by two membranes that facilitate the interconnection between them. Inner hair cells within the scala media are in charge of transforming the hydraulic motions into electrical signal. Nerve fibers rise from the scala media, from the cochlear branch, and form the auditory part of the cranial nerve 8. There are some instrumental assessments to measure the functions of the inner ear, such as the otoacoustic emission testing. This assesses the function of the inner ear, especially the outer hair cells in the cochlea. During this testing, a small probe containing a microphone and a speaker is placed in the ear canal. The speaker emits a sound stimulus, usually a click or tone, while the microphone measures the response generated by the outer hair cells. Another one is the auditory brainstem response testing. This evaluates the function of the auditory nerve and brainstem pathway involving hearings. It consists in placing electrodes on the skull to detect electrical responses generated by the auditory system in response to sound stimuli. These responses are recorded and analyzed.